Hey Bookworms, welcome back to the channel and welcome if you're new. It's Sam and today we are doing a book haul. So the last book haul I did was a month ago and I said that I wasn't going to do any more big buying sprees. Well, clearly she forgot that because I have bought over 20 books here. That's a lot, but this is the last big book binge buying spree. And I'm only going to be getting books that I've pre-ordered from now on and new books that are coming out that I really want. I know I said that last time, but the last 2 months I've been really ill, have like all these injections like 6 times. So, I mean, I think I deserved it, you know. We're going to just jump into the books. Some of these you may have already seen me talk about. You might have seen them from my previous book shopping video with me, which I'll link below and put up here if you want to check that out. But let's jump straight into it. This is in no particular order because I have no idea what order I bought these in. But the first one we've got is, I can't pick it up, House of Sky and Breath. This one is the sequel to a Crescent City one. I forget what that one's actually called. Everybody pretty much knows what this one's about. I'm not going to go into too much detail on all of these. All going to be here for a while. But yeah, this is the sequel. I have still not read this one yet just because of how big it is. I'm kind of scared. But a lot of people lately have been talking about the last line in the book and just how amazing it is. So it's kind of making me really want to get to this one. And if you haven't seen my latest video of all the series I want to try and finish this year or make progress in, this one was on that one. I will see I will also link that one below. Next up is a book I've actually read. I think I read this one last month, and that was The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. I end up giving this one a 4 star. This is an old Korean folktale about these gods and this girl, and it's like this village where they each year sacrifice a woman as a bride to the sea gods in order for the storms to stop, and our main character ends up sacrificing herself. This book is absolutely beautifully described. The world is incredible and this is just a really beautiful story. Next up is The Sweet Spot. This is by Trish Dollar, who wrote the Float Plan. I had no idea at the time that this follows the sister of Anna. When I found it out, I was ecstatic. I actually recently just read this one, so you have to wait until my wrap up to know what I thought. But this follows the characters that are going to work for this guy who's building a hotel on this island. It's kind of like an isolated island, not many people's there. There is some trigger warnings for this book, which is a mention of child death, suicide and sexual assault. So definitely be warned going to that. They're definitely not like massive topics that they talked about a lot. The child death one is definitely a major part of one of our characters in this. But yeah, definitely be warned going into this one because it is contemporary romance, but it's such a beautiful story. Next up is The Roughest Draft. I've seen quite a few people talking about this one. I actually own another book by these authors because this is wrote by a husband and wife, but I've never read it. I think it's Always Never Yours or something. And this one just sounds really good, and everyone who's read it has gave it really good reviews. Really want to get to this one though soon, but I just have so many books I want to get to. And this follows this couple, not a couple, I think they were friends and used to write books together, and now they don't, and the guy's kind of like gone off on his own to write his own book. I think that they get back together for one last time to write one final book. I can't really remember what it's about. It says on here they were co-writing darlings until they hit a plot hole that turns their lives upside down. So yeah, I'm really excited to see, you know, what went wrong, because this honestly sounds really good. Next up is A Brush with Love, which is actually a book that I want to try to read this month. If you haven't seen my what month are we in? My March wrap up and April TBR. This book was on my TBR. This book is absolutely stunning, and it's a romance about 2 characters who I think in dental school. That's all I know, and if you just heard that, that's my cat attacking the window because I think there's like a ladybug on it or something. Honestly sounds really good, and I can't wait to get to this one. Loads of people have read this one and just had nothing but good words to say about it. Next up is a book that came out, I think February. Yeah, I think in February, and it's by a very popular author, which is V.E. Schwab. I can't say that, list problems. I don't know too much about this one, otherwise it says, a haunting and beautifully sealed garden of darkness. Gallant unearths the shadows, webs of family history, the price of deadly bargains, and the secrets we guard, plunging readers into a triumphant tale that can't be missed. And I'm really excited for this one also. I got sprayed edges, so yes. Oh wow, inside look, that is so beautiful. And we have this on the underneath the dress jacket, which, guys, you know, I love. I actually am surprised that I've not read this one yet, to be honest. It just sounds really good, but I have so many of her books that I need to read. I think I've only read Invisible Love, Addie LaRue, and I loved it. So I'm hoping I'll love this one. Next up is a book that I I was in the middle of reading the first book last month and I loved it and ended up buying the sequel straight away, and that was Bone Choir's Dawn. I gave this book 4 stars. I loved both the books in the series. Honestly, I was really nervous going into this because a lot of people had not bad things to say about it, but it was like mixed reviews. In the first book, we follow a character called Liz and friend Sabine. They're bone choirs. They basically have to kill animals to get the power of animals. So for example, if you kill a hawk, you get a hawkeye sense. Kill a shark, you get shark sense. And then we have Bastion, who wants to kill a bone choir because a bone choir has killed his father. And yeah, our main character this ends up getting kidnapped. Sabine is trying to find her and free her, and this book follows on from the first book, and they're both really, really good. It's enemies to lovers, and it's brilliant. Next up is a book that I got from my Come Book Shopping video with me, which if you've watched that, you'll see. If not, I'll link it below, and that was The Book of Lost Names. I got this one from my local WS Mist. I think it was like free for a certain price or something like that, and this follows a character who has to flee after her dad is arrested. It's a World War II story set in France, and yeah, I think her dad ends up getting arrested, so she ends up fleeing, and then she does ends up forging documents for Jewish children so they can be safe, and she keeps this book with their real names, so then one day, if they ever want to know their real identities and find their families, there's that. I've heard so many positive things about this book that is absolutely breathtaking, heartbreaking. It literally just pulls you in and captivates you from the very beginning, and I love a good historic fiction book, so yeah, I'm looking forward for this one at some point, like many of these books. Next up is a book that I got on that same offer, which was Married at First Swipe, and this follows a character who creates, I think, a dating app, and she ends up using her own dating app to try and find the one. And that's pretty much all I know about this one, but it sounds like a lot of fun. From the same video, I think it's from the same video, I ended up getting a book called A Terrible Kindness, and I ended up getting this version where it's got the sprayed edges, and I'm so happy. I don't know too much about this other than it follows the Aberfan disaster, which happened in the UK quite a few years ago, and it ended up killing like a lot of children, which just sounds honestly devastating. I watched a documentary after I heard this is what the book's about, so I could understand a bit more before going into this. Everybody who's read this has said that it's honestly heart-wrenching and just such a touching and moving story. I think that this is the author's first book as well, so what a brilliant book to write like for your first book, and I honestly want to try and read this one this year because I just want to know what all the fuss is about. It says on the back, when we go through impossible things, someone or something will help us if we let them. So yeah, and it's been, I don't think it's bought by anyone I know, but yeah, honestly, this sounds really, really good. I remember I was going to buy this one before, but it was like not the one with the sprayed edges, and then I happened to go in and had that, and I was so happy because like sprayed edges. And again, I think this is another book from same video, and that is The Anomaly. This follows, I think, a plane that ends up something happens and then the plane ends up splitting, so then there's two planes and two lots of the same people. One lands at the time that it's supposed to land, and the other one lands a couple months later. Otherwise, I don't really know much about this one, other than my partner said that it sounded really good and I should get it, so I've got it, and I think he plans to read this one too. The next 3 books I'm going to show you I actually got today, which, you know, like, I probably shouldn't have, but like, I have a problem. And that is Colleen Hoover's Ugly Love, and it ends with us. Pretty much everybody knows about what these books. Pretty much everybody knows what these books are about. They are so popular. I have seen both of these books get talked about so much. People say that this book will literally break your heart, and I wasn't going to get any of these books. I was just like not really interested, and I've never read Colleen Hoover until this year, and I read November 9 and I loved it, so I ended up deciding that I'm going to buy some Colleen Hoover books for a future video, which I will let you guys know soon what that is. So yeah, I got both of these today. I got them from my local works. I think they were £5 each, so it was a pretty good bargain. And then the final book I got today was The Atlas Six. This book I have gone back and forth with if I should get it, if I shouldn't get it, if I should, maybe. And then today I just decided to use my points that I have to get this, and so technically I only paid like £4, technically. This follows, I think, 6 extraordinary magicians, 5 chances to win, 1 secret society, and I think each of them have like their own separate powers. And this was written by an author who actually self-published. I don't understand this thing where people are shocked when someone self-publishes that the book's good. Like, being published by a company or being self-published doesn't change the writing. You're a good author if you're a good writer, right? So why does it matter if you're self-published or not. I just don't get why people are so shocked about that. I'm writing a book, I'm going to be self-publishing because like I want complete control, and just because I'm not being published by a publishing company doesn't mean my writing's going to be any less good than what someone is if they were published by a company. That makes sense, right? Makes sense. But yeah, this is out of 6. This is very popular on TikTok apparently. I do not have a TikTok because I don't care about it. But yeah, this is very popular on TikTok, and I kind of want to just see what it's about. So hopefully I like this one. This might be for another video as well. I might read some popular TikTok books in a video at some point, and this might be included in there. I got Wrath and Mercy. I got this one this month. This is the sequel to Bright and Pale, and I am in the middle of actually reading it. I really want to read as much as I can today. And the Bright and Pale follows a character who has to flee because her town gets like completely, like her little village gets frozen over, so everyone's like sort of frozen in time. And she flees and ends up going to work with this character called Louisa, and they sort of like do thieving and stuff like that. Her best friend now, Alec, they get like really close and he dies, and she discovers later on that he's not dead. That isn't spoiled as part of the story. And in order to get his freedom, she has to go on this, is it an excursion? I don't know the right word. They have to go back to her village so they can go to this mountain where they got Lafitte. I don't know what it's called. It's like money or something. A lot of stuff happens. I feel like people don't love the book as much as I loved it, but I generally loved it so much. I gave it 5 stars. Of course, when this one came out, I knew I was going to read it straight away, and I think it came out like 3 days before I actually started reading it, and so far I'm enjoying it. Next up, we have another Colleen Hoover because we want to do a video, and that is it Farity? I think this one's her first thriller. People seem to like really enjoy it still. I don't really feel like I ever hear anything bad said about Colleen Hoover. Yeah, that's another one that I've got now of hers. I've built up quite the collection of Colleen Hoover books. But yeah, I don't know too much about it, it's a thriller, so you guys probably know that. Next one I got from my local works store. I was going to get this one from Waterstones and it was £8, and I chose to put it back because I didn't want to spend too much on this book. I'm like interested in it, but not so interested to spend £8, and that is The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. And I ended up going to my local works and it's on offer for £3, and I was like, that's a bargain, you know, you can't go wrong with that. It's a bargain. And I think this book tests your DNA to find out your perfect match or something. My partner said it sounds kind of like Black Mirror's vibe, that TV show on Netflix if you've checked it out. So yeah, it does sound really good, and I'm happy that I only spent £3 because books cost money. The next book I got is The Long Weekend, which is a thriller about 3 couples, and I think one of the husbands gets killed. It says on here 3 couples, 2 bodies, 1 secret, and it's a thriller. It sounds really, really good. It says on there, by the time you read this, I have killed one of your husbands. That's all I needed to hear from this book to know that I really wanted to read this one. Honestly, I thought I'd have read it by now because it sounds really good, but they don't do like chapters. It's done in parts, and that freaks me out. And I never understand that, because you're reading the exact same amount as you would have read if it's just in chapters, but that chapter breaking up for some reason seems to like make you feel like you're reading faster. I don't know. Is it just me, or do you guys like prefer chapters, or like you don't mind in big chunks of parts? Because it freaks me out. Am I just weird? I'm just weird. Another recent book I got, which was from the works again, and that was Daisy Jones and 6. It was on offer for £5. Everybody knows what this book is about. Everybody and their mother talk about this book because like everybody talks about it, and I was like, because everyone was talking about it, I was like, I'm not getting it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Well, she did it because I actually really want to read this one this month if I can. Oh, I don't know if I want to keep it for a video. I don't really know. I've read Evelyn Hugo and I loved it. And I heard that this book's told in interview format. So that's really interesting. It's very different. But I am excited to see what the big hype is about. And I hope that I'm going to love it like everyone else. We follow a character called Daisy Jones in 6. And I think it's like this big band. And they split up and you're going to discover like what happened. I've not heard one thing that's bad about this book. Everybody loves this book. So I hope I'll be one of those people. Next up is another Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and that's called The One True Love. This is where we follow a character who's, I think, fiance, or was it husband? Okay, so it's a high school sweetheart. They're both boyfriends. Boyfriends. They're both husband and... No, they're not. Oh my god, what the hell? Yeah, it's one of those days again. They're boyfriend and girlfriend, and he ends up dying. But then a couple of years later, you know, she's moved on. She's now in a relationship with someone else, and then she gets a phone call and he's alive. This book's supposed to be really sad. I don't quite know why I'm like this as a comedy. Like, it doesn't sound very funny, does it? yeah, so it's got on here, high school sweethearts Emma and Jesse moved far away from home together, traveling the world, chasing every adventure, building a life of their own. 364 days after, so they were after the wedding, Jesse is on a helicopter that goes missing mid-flight. Suddenly he's gone. Years later, Emma's back in her hometown. She's grieved, she's learned to live again, she's fallen in love. At a family dinner one autumn evening, she receives a phone call from Jesse. And honestly, oh, this gives me chills. Like, can you imagine the person you love just disappears one day? And of course, you've got to move on because, like, you've got to live your life. And then that person calls you and they're alive. Like, you're with someone else now. You've moved on. Like, and you wouldn't be that person you were, like, all those years ago. You're going to be a completely different person. You both would be. So it's like, I really can't wait to see how this is going to play out. Everyone who's read it said it's really, really sad. Honestly, like, I am expecting to cry. I think I'll be disappointed if I didn't cry. But yeah, I don't know. That's just... Ooh. Next up is Only a Monster. If you saw my wrap up last month, this was a 5 stars. I love this book so much. We follow this character who discovers that her family are monsters who steal time from humans. I don't know what to say without spoiling this, so I'm not going to say much about it other than it's a time traveling fantasy, sort of forbidden lovers, and it is honestly brilliant. I do have to say that the fact that they're just called monsters was a bit like, could have came up with like a better explanation to that. Not explanation, but like a better name for them. But I do understand what she was doing. I read that some people said that the abilities weren't that interesting, but I actually found it really, really interesting. And the ending to this was just so good. Cannot wait for the next book in the series. I think there's another book in the series. There better be. And honestly, yeah, I'm so glad that I got this one because everyone was talking about it. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like it. But yeah, it ended up being a new favourite. So glad. If you haven't read it, you should definitely pick it up and get it because it's so good. Now we're on to the final 2. And one of these, again, is from my Come Book Shopping video with me. And that is Stepping Up. So it says on the front, Beth only ever had to take care of herself, but that's about to change. Now this literally reminds me of a book called The Accidental Mother, where I think her best friend dies and leaves the kids to her. And her life is just completely turned upside down because she's got to look after these kids. And this kind of reminds me of that a little bit. And yeah, this is one that I want to read at some point. Obviously, I bought it. Otherwise, what I'll be boying it? Boying it? Oh my god. Boying it. I can't speak. I can't ever speak though, so who am I kidding? But yeah, this one sounds like it's going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be quite emotional as well. I don't know. I think it's a contemporary, but yeah, the cover's also really bright. And now the final book is Beth O'Leary's The No-Show, which I'm actually going to be doing a reading vlog for, unless something terrible goes wrong and I end up having to go and get a bunch more injections. Hopefully not. I had my last injection the other day. Had 6 of them. It's over. I'm free. I mean, I'm not. I have to do another blood test soon. But yeah, this is Beth O'Leary's newest book, which I'm not, like, I can't 100% describe it other than it follows 3 different women, 3 dates, and 1 missing man. It's supposed to be really, really funny. It's romantic, but also heartbreaking, people have said. So, yes. It literally says, ingenious, heartwarming, and romantic. Oh, Emily Henry said, surprising and deeply satisfying. But yeah, this is one that I'm planning to do a reading vlog for just because Beth O'Leary is really popular. I've only read one of her books before, which is The Road Trip. I've not read her most popular one yet, which is Flatshare. I'm going to. But this one sounds really, really good and I really like the cover. So yeah, that is all the books I have bought since my last book haul. And I have got technically one more which I'll pop up on screen, with the Genesis War that comes out in a couple of days, and that's a sequel to Infinity Courts. And yeah, after this I'm only going to be buying books that I have pre-ordered or new books that I really, really want to read. I need to like chill. I'm actually planning to do a book unhaul where I'm unhauling like a bunch of books. I don't know if I'm going to film that one or just do it off camera. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books, if you plan to get any of these books now, or if you read them and you didn't like them, or maybe you did like them. Let me know. Of course, don't give any spoilers. But yeah, until next time, bye!